Morning, peeps. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Let's see what there is to talk about today from the world of boxing. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Thank you so much to everyone that's doing it. That was cheers, by the way. That was cheers to everyone that's doing that. That is good today. Do you know what today is? Today, by the way, is the 1st of July. Do you know how important that day is? Today marks the day that we take over. We're taking over, people. We get the studio today. We get the studio today. I'm actually not going there today, which is a shame. That's because I'm doing a double shift at TalkSport. So I've got to be, by the time this video comes out, I'll be in the studio at TalkSport. And I finished today at 10 o'clock in the evening. So I'm not going to go today. We will go tomorrow. I am going to do a video of the studio so you guys can see what it looks like now before I transform it into what it's going to be. But I am excited. Loads to do, like so much to do, but I love a challenge. So I look forward to it. 1st of July, remember the day that we took over. Took over what? I do not know, but we took over. Or at least we tried to take over. I'll tell you a story quickly before we get into boxing chat. So I live in, I'm the second floor on a block of flats. I'm the top floor as well. And so when I do my washing, especially if it's hot, I leave all my washing stuff out in the corridor because I hate the smell of damp clothes in a house. I leave them in the corridor. So today I go outside to get my washing, get a pair of boxers that I'm going to wear today. Someone has come in the building and nicked all my boxers, like 10 pairs of boxers, just my boxers, nothing else. They've just nicked my boxers. Haven't taken my t-shirts. There's a couple of designer shirts there. No, just took my boxers. Fucking hell. That's just happened. I'm so upset by that. Like, I'm saying it now as a story, and most of you are probably laughing as I'm saying it, but I'm not happy at all. Not happy at all. All right, let's see what we've got to talk about. Bob Arum says Fury Joshua could possibly land in the UK provided both win. I do not even want to hear about this right now. Like, I do not want to hear about it. Next. Keith Thurman, not interested in Ortiz, says he's never heard of Ennis. I hate that talk. I absolutely hate that kind of talk. Because Keith's got to remember what it was like for him coming up. I remember an interview, I think Paulie was Keith had just won, and Paulie Malignaggi is in the interview room. I don't know why. I don't know if Paulie was working for a broadcaster. Paulie was still boxing, because this is years ago. This might be about 9-10 years ago. And Paulie pretty much said exactly the same thing to Keith, and Keith got very angry with that statement. Like, I don't even know who you are, Keith. Paulie said that. It's not nice when one of the guys coming up is treated like that. Of course he knows who Jaron Ennis is. Of course he does. But all of a sudden, no, I've never heard of him. Don't become that person, Paulie. Because you were also at one stage struggling to get the big fights, and people were saying the same thing about you just because they didn't want to fight you because maybe you brought nothing to the table. What he should have said is, yeah, I've heard of him. He's a good kid, but, right now I'm just only trying to fight, the top guys. Maybe say something like that. Because Jaron Ennis right now isn't a top guy. Maybe say, we are trying to just get, an ERROL Spence or a Terence Crawford. No disrespect to Jaron Ennis, but that's not the kind of fight he's looking for. Be humble. Because there was a time when you were Jaron Ennis coming through, and I remember how you reacted. Go and find it, guys. It's a Paulie. Just type in Paulie Keith Thurman beef. And Paulie said exactly the same thing, and Keith just shut up. And it wasn't nice. Wasn't nice. So all of a sudden, Keith's now that person. Oh, that nearly slipped for the first time. Ricky Hatton, Lomachenko is still the force he once was. He took Lopez lightly. Okay, two statements there. One of them is true, one of them is not true. Still the force he once was? Yeah. Looked very good. Looked very, very good. Again, he does things that we don't normally see in boxing. Some might say we haven't seen in boxing, all right? I mean, there are some fantastic movers in boxing over the years. Pernell Whitaker, fantastic mover. Floyd Mayweather at 130, 135, fantastic mover. Even Manny Pacquiao, not a fantastic mover, but it was so fucking fast, it looked like he was moving great. So Lomachenko definitely still the force he once was. He took Lopez lightly, not having that. He certainly did not take Lopez lightly. In fact, I think he took Lopez as serious as he could. Lopez was just that good on the night. Lopez was like, okay, all that dancing thing you do, we're not doing that. I'm just gonna rush you. And Lopez for the first 3 or 4 rounds rushed Lomachenko like I've not seen anyone do. A lot of people kind of stand off Lomachenko and allow him to do his work. Lopez was like, we're not playing that game. We're not playing that game. In the end, it got a bit tricky for Lopez because it's almost like he blew his gas tank. But Lopez won, I think Lopez won either around 11 or 12, which secured the bag. Secured the bag. So definitely didn't take Lopez lightly. Look, hopefully we get all the answers to these questions when they rematch at the start of next year. That's the hope, right? That we get Lopez versus Loma again. And not that I'm dismissing Kambosos. I'm not. I think he's a good fighter, but fingers crossed we get Lopez Loma. No injuries, everyone fully healthy, and then we'll see. And then we will see. What's this? There is an image here. I'm not even going to put it up. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Deontay Wilder grinding hard for Tyson Fury trilogy showdown. It's Deontay Wilder lifting a bit of weights and stuff. Can't wait for that fight. I really can't. They've tricked me into thinking it's somehow going to be a great fight again. I don't think it's going to be a great fight, but the fights like starts now. Someone uses that phrase. I don't know who they, but the fight starts now. It's all the build up, and I'm fully invested in the build up, and I'm fully invested in how it's going to play out in the first few rounds. But then I just expect Tyson Fury to do what Tyson Fury does. Deontay Wilder, peak Deontay Wilder couldn't beat Tyson Fury at the worst Tyson Fury I've seen. Peak. And what I mean by that is the first fight they had. That was Deontay Wilder right at the top of his game. Like mentally, physically, like right at the top of his game. So much so, let's not forget, everyone laughs about AJ giving these belts to Andy Ruiz. I think people forget, like when Deontay Wilder went to go and see Tyson Fury fight, when he fought in Ireland, Deontay Wilder gave Tyson Fury his belt. Do you remember that? He was so confident, so some might say arrogant. That guy couldn't beat Tyson Fury. That guy. Tyson Fury, who had come off the couch and fought Sefer Seferi and Pianetta in basically glorified sparring sessions where he's playing around. Tyson Fury that still looked a bit overweight, just didn't look great, right? Deontay Wilder at his peak couldn't beat that guy. Second time round, Tyson Fury has already mixed it up now. Now he's training, now he's taking it seriously, and we saw what he did to Deontay Wilder. This right now is a Tyson Fury that is super confident, right? Knows exactly what he's doing, has always known what he's doing, and now there's something about I don't know if the Americans, I'm sure there is sort of the gypsy sort of community is over there. I'm pretty sure it must be over there, but we know over here in the UK those men are fighting men, like. We know over here, you see a gypsy site, caravan, you don't enter. You swerve it. They're built differently. They're bred to fight. It's in their DNA, right? You say someone's name and someone will tell you the history of their fighting. It's mental, and I just feel like Tyson Fury is bred to fight and can fight, and is a guy that is 19 stone that moves around. This is no hyperbole. Moves around like he's 16 stone, can punch, is arrogant, is confident, and is unbeaten. Good luck to Deontay Wilder. I keep hearing he has got that right hand. All right? Like Tyson Fury ain't got a right hand either. I guess we'll find out very, very soon, right? Find out very, very soon. Amir Khan's been talking, hasn't he? Amir Khan, I don't know who's interviewed him, but Amir Khan's been talking a lot of smack as usual, a lot of nonsense, especially about the Brook fight. And it's weird because a few people added me on the tweet when he was said something along the lines of, you know, he never liked Kell Brook, and the reason he didn't want to fight him is because he didn't want to give him basically that payday, right? Why am I gonna, if I don't like you, I'm not gonna give you, and that makes sense. But that's not what he was saying to us all this time, right? All this time it was like, yeah, I want to fight you, and it just can't happen, and this and that, and just a load of nonsense. And no, I don't begrudge Amir Khan, and I don't have no hate for him at all, because Amir Khan's getting on with his own career, and Amir Khan's having big fights in America. He's fighting the big names, he's chasing the big names, and maybe to him it's like, yes, it would be a big fight for our UK fan base, but you know, he's over there taking on Canelo. He's over there tracing, and he was very close to getting a Floyd Mayweather fight. He's doing the Maidana fights, the Danny Garcia. He's doing all those fights over there. My thing is, it almost, I don't know why, I blame Kell Brook for not getting on with his career, and for forever constantly chasing the Amir Khan fight. I don't know, man. All I do know, and I don't care if anyone tells me, Kell Brook would have iced him. Would have iced him. That Kell Brook back then would have iced Amir Khan back then. Especially at 147 pounds. Far too big, far too strong. Like the Kell Brook, just before he stepped up and fights Golovkin. So basically, there was that time of the talk of it happening then. So just before Amir Khan went to Canelo, and just before Amir Khan went to Canelo and Kell Brook went to GGD. If they were to fight then at 147 pounds, Kell would have iced him. Light out. Don't care anyone tells me. Don't care. Argue with yourself. Mayweather couldn't hurt Logan Paul. This is Amir Khan talking again. It looked bad for him. Sure did. I mean, that £30 million or whatever he got paid certainly looks bad for him, doesn't it? What else we got? Stevenson here saying that Frampton wasn't big or strong enough for Herring. And he was at the end of his career. I don't know if he's trying to dig Herring here, because there's been a lot of talk about Shakur Stevenson, Jamal Herring, who they're friends. But look, when it comes down to business, it comes down to business. And look, he's right in those points. In the end, I think we saw the size difference. Herring is huge for 130 pounds, like just enormous. And maybe that was the case. Maybe a fresher Frampton, although Herring was big and strong, might have been able to negate those things. But I think in the end, it was just too big, too strong, and Frampton was done. Frampton was done. And he, you know, in interviews after, he's admitted to that as well, that he was done. But he gave it a go. He tried to become a freeweight world champion, you know, a legit freeweight world champion. There are people walking around now talking about being freeweight world champions and are not. He tried to become a legit freeweight world champion. I'm almost upset for Frampton that, and look, sometimes you just got to take it when it's there, right? I'm upset for Frampton that fight was where it was, in a tent. So it's almost like you're trying to achieve something so special, and it was played out in front of no fans and a tent. It was awful. And the ring announcer was awful. And the walk to the ring was literally like the distance of me walking to my toilet, which was about 7 steps. You know, especially when there was, and look, they must have been paid a lot of money to have that fight. Was it in Dubai? I think it was in Dubai. But there was at the time fans allowed back in America. So some events in America had fans. So it would have been so nice to have, and look, he's got an Irish fan base in America, and they would have travelled. It's a shame that he didn't have that, because you just feel like with fans, with an atmosphere, might have played out differently. Herring might have won, but it might have gone a bit longer. Just my 2 cents. Oh, it's a good one. It's a very good one. Canelo's coach, so it's Eddie Reynoso, says, let's get Plant deal done, which I'm sure should be done by now. Then I like Charlo, Spence, Benavidez. This is interesting because Eddie Hearn's been talking about him going to 175 pounds after he beats Caleb Plant. This obviously contradicts that. This is saying Jamal Charlo, Errol Spence, who, let's not forget, has got to fight 147 against Manny Pacquiao, and Benavidez. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if Errol Spence beats Pac-Man and jumps straight to 160. that might sound crazy, but it's not like we've not seen things like this before. And what I mean by that is let's not forget Bernard Hopkins when he jumped from 160 after losing his belt to Jermaine Taylor and went straight to 175. Everyone thought, oh my God, he's dead. And all of a sudden, he looked actually very good. And he didn't look small for 175 either, Bernard Hopkins. Errol Spence is clearly a big 147 pounder. And I look at the 154 pound division, and I think there are good fights there for him. I think Erickson Lubin's a great fight. But Mel Charlo's got all the belts there, right? Mel Charlo fights Castano. When is that fight, by the way? July 17th. And if Jamel Charlo stays, then Errol Spence ain't fighting Jamel Charlo. They're very good friends, right? That's never going to happen. So why would you not go one more and go 160? If he goes 160, I'm telling you now, when you think of like fights that could be enormous, Errol Spence and Canelo will go back down to 160 versus Canelo at 160 is just record-breaking numbers. It's record-breaking numbers. Do I think that's going to happen? Like I've just said, no. But Errol Spence has mentioned Canelo a couple of times. This is the first time that I'm seeing anyway where someone from Canelo's team has mentioned Errol Spence. I just find it strange that they're mentioning a guy who's at 147 and their guy's at 168. It's like they might know something that we don't know. And I think Errol Spence could go to 168 or 160, apologies, and fight Canelo. And we are talking a super fight of epic proportions. Epic. And in my head, I just went silent there because, again, I don't know why. I just thought about Terence Crawford. Boy, forgot Benavidez there. Benavidez is there as well. You know what Benavidez will be good for? Benavidez will be a good fight for is it the Azteca or the Aztec Arena? What's it called? Is it the Azteca Arena? I think it's called the Azteca. Is it the Azteca Stadium? Which I think is like 100. What capacity is that again? It's massive. It's a huge. I can't. No, it's not got a capacity here. But I think it's something like 140,000. Benavidez, Canelo, Mexico. 140,000. Could happen. Could happen. I'm getting excited, boy. All right, Joshua Buatsi on facing Dimitri Bivol, training with Virgil Hunter. Buatsi should. If I'm Buatsi, I'm looking at, he's got that fight coming up. One more fight. Obviously, new training camp. Then go for Bivol. Go. What are we in this sport for? Go for Bivol, man. Let's see. Inoue is predicting that Donaire beats Casemiro in dramatic style. Not sure about that, man. Not sure. Casemiro's good, man. But then again, this Donaire is looking really special. And I thought Donaire was done after the Inoue fight. I thought that's it for Donaire. But I think maybe even Donaire thought that was it for Donaire. But he put on such a good performance against a pound for pounder. Inoue, everyone has a number 2, number 3, pound for pound, whichever way. I think he put on such a good performance. It made him think, you know what, there's a lot left. And proven, now there is a lot left. I just want to see Casemiro versus Inoue. I've said it before, we're not going to go back into there again. Anthony Yarde back to become world champion by new team edition. That new team edition is obviously Mr. Cook. I don't know. Anything can happen, right? Belts could become vacant. There's a route that becomes available. I'm not sure. I would have said that as well. Even after the Kovalev defeat, I would have said that. But watching him against Lyndon Arthur, I'm no longer convinced that is the case. I hope it is. Good luck to him. I don't think we're going to see much from who he's fighting next because, again, I've looked at that record and there's nothing in that. But not sure. There's a lot of good guys at 175. A lot of good guys. And guys that we don't even know about. Young guys coming up in Eastern Europe and America that are like 12-0, 13-0 that are going to be prime and ready in about a couple of years. The kind of time where Anthony Yarde will be fighting for world titles or be in that mix. So, I'm not sure. Let me see him dominate the UK scene first. Like dominate, blow everyone out of the water. And then I'm like, whoa. And then go to the European and then we'll see. We haven't seen it, have we? We haven't seen that. I thought he would dominate Lyndon Arthur. And Lyndon Arthur, in the end, if we're being honest, beat him with one hand. 2 secs. Andre Ward here saying that Wilder will be dangerous in Fury trilogy. Has a lot to prove. Yes, he does. And he's going to be dangerous. I mean, Wilder looks like... I've never seen Wilder so angry. I genuinely, and as much as the stories for me are bullshit, I genuinely believe that Wilder thinks Fury has cheated. Like, 100%. He thinks Fury's tampered with his gloves. I think he obviously talks about Fury's past steroid use. He is going there to try and hurt Fury. Not to win a boxing match, to hurt him. He's going there to clock that right hand and unload. Unload as much anger in it as possible. So yeah, he's going to be very dangerous. Very. But Fury's winning. Have we got anything else? There's loads of stuff here, but let's quickly run through a couple more bits more. Robert Helenius expects repeat performance against Adam Kalnacki. Obviously, that was one of the shocks of last year. No one really talks about that as one of the upsets. Not that we're disrespecting Helenius, but everyone expected Kalnacki to win, and then there was a lot of talk about Kalnacki versus Andy Ruiz. So where Andy Ruiz came back and fought, I forgot his name now, Chris Arreola, it was really supposed to be Kalnacki. This is a must-win for Kalnacki. This is the thing, that when you roll the dice with someone that you're supposed to beat and you lose again, that's the problem. Like, that would have been the problem for AJ. That would have been the problem for Dillian White. They were able to get their victories. Let's see if Kalnacki can. If not, he kind of falls into that kind of Charles Martin and other kind of bracket where it's still good. You're still able to get good fights, but you're not going to hit where everyone thought you were going to hit. You're not going to hit those heights. Anything else to talk about? Very upset by the way, for Tim Tszyu. Michael Zarafa withdrew. Tim Tszyu, I do want to see him over. Not over in America, but he might have to, because I don't think the Americans are going to travel unless they get big money. I mean, Manny Pacquiao traveled for Jeff Horn, so it's possible. But there are so many guys at 154 I want to see him fight. And I don't know if he's going to be able to attract them to Australia. If not, get your ass to America, man, and mix it with these guys. I think he can be a force. Bob Aram here saying that Lomachenko's father, has this always been the case? I don't think it has. Will prepare Usyk for Joshua title fight. I don't know if that's always been the case. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. AJ's getting that victory in our matter. Peace.